What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to talk about why Tesla's dipping a bit as we just got the deliveries numbers. They're not the strongest for Tesla, but they are still showing a new record, at least for them. So there is some good and bad with them. But just know I'm not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Tesla, these numbers just came out like a minute ago. Tesla's fourth quarter 2024 production and deliveries numbers have come out. And in total, as you guys can see, they produced about 459,000 vehicles with a deliveries over 495,000, and they deployed about 11.0 gigawatt hours of energy storage products. That's a record for both deliveries and deployments. So energy storage is still showing a lot of strength, nice record, nice growth, but their deliveries, despite the fact that it is a record, it did come short of what many Wall Street analysts were expecting. The majority of them were expecting 500 plus thousand. Many of them were saying 506,000. I think that's what the average consensus was. And we came a little bit short. So let's look at the numbers. So for Q4 2024, we basically saw the Model 3 and Model Y production at 436,000. And then other models were at this 22,000 mark, putting the total production at 459,445. That's for all models, 459,000. For deliveries, okay, we had the Model 3 and Model Y at just under 472,000. Then other models were at about 23,640. This puts the total at 495,570. Unfortunately, this was below expectations, but it still is technically a record for Tesla. This is their all-time highest Q4 deliveries report in history. Good job for Tesla, at least for that. I just want to give a big shout out to the team. But like I said before, technically this is below what Wall Street was expecting. Tesla is known for having very high expectations from Wall Street. And because they tend to have these high expectations, Tesla does not always meet them, unfortunately. So that's why the share price is kind of dipping a bit. Also know that for the totality of 2024, okay, production was at about a total of 1.77 million, with deliveries at 1.78 million as well. So that is technically a little bit lower than what we saw in 2023. This could be part of why the Tesla share price is dipping. We wanted at least 515,000 to surpass, or 515,000 deliveries in total to surpass what we got last year for the entire year. We came short of achieving that. So unfortunately, Tesla's a little bit short. They did try their best. They came very, very close. And I still think they did well for Q4. It is still a new record for them, but they did come just short of the psychological 500,000 mark. And that's why, it's below expectations. Energy deployments saw a nice growth at about 31.4 gigawatt hours. Not bad for 2024. So I just wanted to say great job by the Tesla team for their achievements. These are not bad numbers. Nice growth, a new record for Tesla. But unfortunately, on a year-over-year basis, this year does have less deliveries compared to last year because of external factors that are outside of Tesla's control. And I also want to say that, like I said before, not really meeting all of Wall Street's expectations. Further factors, just know that today's Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. So happy New Year, everyone. Please know that 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI report, may cause some more volatility. Then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 17-week, 4-week, and 8-week bill auctions coming out. So look for volatility at 9:45 and 11:30 a.m. We'll have to see what that leads to, at least moving forward. Besides that, the market is trying to push just a bit, at least to start off 2025. But I do want to warn you to watch resistance as we're seeing some new developments. There were a lot of American chains that filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2024. This affects like Wendy's, Denny's, Applebee's, and the list goes on. And then there's a lot of competition in China right now for Apple. Besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy. Anyways, that is it, at least for my update for the broader markets. Now let's just focus on Tesla stock. So the news for the broader markets is not too crazy, and all eyes were on Tesla. I just want to say, guys, that Tesla is subjected to very, very high expectations. Wall Street is known for giving very high expectations, even if Tesla gives us a record deliveries, which is still good. I think the report was good. They did beat, their all-time high record. It's very awesome to see that. But like I said before, Wall Street had very high expectations, expecting at least 506,000, if not 515,000 plus. Wall Street's known for doing that to Tesla, and because of that, Tesla not meets that expectation, and that's why the share price is starting to show some weakness. Now, we're going to be looking at 400 as resistance. If we could reclaim 400, there could be some kind of attempts to get back up to about 402. and then back up to about 410 and 414 as our resistances. If we can't get back above 400, we're looking at this support right over here, very close to where we happen to be right over here. We have previous resistance becoming support um, right over here around this like 394 area. If that fails us, there's going to be a risk of us dipping closer to about all the way down to the mid 380s. So if 394 fails, I'm looking for 390, then 385. And if 385 fails, let's look for 380 as our main support. If we can't hold the support here, I think there's a risk of us coming closer to about the 363 area. It could be a big rug pull if we lose 380, so just be very careful. So for now, I am saying that Tesla's looking kind of heavy. We might attempt to see buyers try to bring it back above 400, but if we can't hold above that, there's going to be a risk of this rejecting and dipping lower. And the odds do favor us hitting like the mid 380s from here, if not below that, if we continue this trend. Unfortunately, Tesla's showing some weakness because it's not really meeting every single one of Wall Street's expectations. And it is what it is. There's nothing I could really do about that. Tesla did their best. They did beat their record in terms of deliveries, so they still did well, but it wasn't really enough to impress Wall Street. Unfortunately, this does open the doors for potential downside, so we'll be watching to see if we could hold the mid 380s. If not, there's going to be a risk of us dipping even lower towards 380 flat, and eventually back down towards the very, very high 360s. But we'll talk more about the supports later. Just know Tesla is looking a bit more bearish, and it is what it is, guys. It's going to be okay. Now, as far as SPY goes, I want to call out that we have a potential left shoulder here, a head and a right shoulder. We did try to bounce to start things off, but watch resistance around 592 or a little bit under that. We need to break that to hit 595, and if we break 595, we have a chance to try to bounce. If we're making lower highs here, right, and we don't break past 595, this could be favoring a rejection like move right here. So if we don't break at least 592, if not 595, then this is favoring a move back down. So we have this gap to fill around 586. So I think we favor 586 to the mid 585 area, and if that fails us, we're dumping back down to 577. There is a risk of SPY rejecting because of the head and shoulders, as we're not really doing the best of jobs at holding above 592. So watch and see if that ends up being the case or not. For ES, it's the same setup. There's a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. We need to try to hold above 59.82. If not, there's going to be a risk of us dipping to about the lower 5900s. So even though we started off the year with a small push, we'll have to see if this lasts or if we get a rejection. Just be careful. For NVIDIA, we tried to push a bit. We're looking at resistance at 136.6. There's a possible inverse cup and handle like structure. If we get back above 140, we could turn back up. But if we come short and we don't break past 136 to 138, there's a risk of us pushing, then rejecting, and moving back down to 132. For Bitcoin, we're trying to push to about 97,000, and then we also have resistance at 98,000. If we lose 95,714, we're looking for 95,000 flats. So this could try to push and reject and start dipping to these lower levels. So we'll have to see what kind of reaction we get as we're making lower highs. So just be careful, guys. There is that risk of downside looking at the current trends. Once again, looking back at Tesla, like I said, we're looking very heavy. There's still that risk of us dipping to the mid 380s, or if not lower. NQ, same thing. We had this high here, came down, with a lower high, came down. We tried to push to about 21,480. We're struggling to hold above that. So this could lead to some downside to 21,163. For the QQQ, we need to get back above 518. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to 511. If 511 fails us, I think there's a tiny gap to fill down there. Then we're going back down to like 507, 505. For Apple, we're on a bit of a downtrend. There was some negative news that came out. We want to see it get back above 251. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to 246. Just keep that in mind. Palantir's on a bit of a downtrend. We have a gap to fill to about 75. If that fails us, we could be dipping to about 73.8 and then eventually back down to 72. The Russell is looking a little bit weaker. I do want to call out the possibility of a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. We have a gap to fill down here, so it might dip to 221. Unless we break past 225, we favor 221 as a potential target. Coin tried to bounce down, it's dipping to fill this gap, so we have this gap to fill at 248, so just keep that in mind. Amazon also has a gap down here. We're struggling to break back above 223. If we break 223 and 225, we turn bullish. Otherwise, if we can't, we're going to be looking for a move back down to fill that gap to 219. Meta is trying to push here, but we do have this gap down here to fill at 585. Look for an attempt to test 594 or below, and then we could be turning back down. Let's look for a small push, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. We have resistance at 428 on Microsoft. If we can't break that, there's that risk of us coming back down to fill the gap at 421. And Google is also rejecting here. If we can't hold above 192, we're looking for a move back down to 190, then 188. So with that being said, guys, I just want to still say Tesla did well with deliveries. They did break their all-time record, but like I said before, not really meeting all expectations. So be prepared for some potential downside. We'll see if we could hold 385 or not. If not, there's going to be a risk of us dipping even lower, all the way down to 380 and potentially, the higher 360s, which we'll talk more about later on. So if 380 fails us, we could be dipping all the way down to like 375. Then we also have this 200 EMA around 363 currently. It might be close to like 365 later on. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's it for my video. Thank you all so much for listening, and peace out.